Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the huge window of Luna Station and watched the stars. His coffee had gone cold in his hands, but he did not notice. 3 days ago, everything had changed. The message from space had arrived, and now humanity faced its greatest test. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Empire. Their message was simple and terrifying. They wanted Earth to surrender completely. They gave humanity 1 week to decide. If Earth refused, they would destroy every human city and kill everyone on the planet. Jake had been preparing for this day for 30 years. He was not afraid. He was ready. Commander Lisa Brooks walked into the command room carrying a thick folder of papers. She was the head of Earth's intelligence division and knew more about aliens than anyone else alive. Her face was serious, but Jake could see something else in her eyes. She was excited. "The fleet is bigger than we thought," Lisa said as she placed the folder on the metal table. "Our long-range sensors show 300 ships heading toward Earth. They will arrive in 18 hours. Jake nodded slowly. 300 ships was a lot, but not as many as they had feared. The Zephyrian Empire was known throughout the galaxy for crushing entire worlds with massive fleets of over 1,000 ships. This force was smaller than usual. "They think we will be easy," Jake said with a small smile. "They sent a small fleet because they believe humans are weak and primitive." Lisa opened her folder and pulled out photographs of alien ships. The pictures were taken by secret human spy satellites hidden throughout space. For 50 years, Earth had been watching the Zephyrians destroy other worlds. They had learned everything about alien weapons, ships, and battle tactics. "War Commander Thexeron is leading the fleet," Lisa continued. "He has personally destroyed 23 civilizations. He has never lost a battle. The aliens think he cannot be defeated." Captain Ryan Hughes entered the room and saluted Admiral Morrison. Ryan was young for a captain, only 35 years old, but he was one of the best military minds on Earth. His blue eyes were bright with anticipation. "All defense stations report ready, sir," Ryan said. "The Mars base, the asteroid forts, and the hidden moon bases are fully armed and waiting for orders. Our fleet commanders are in position." Jake looked at both officers. These two people represented the best of humanity. Lisa had spent her life studying the enemy and preparing Earth's defenses. Ryan had trained thousands of pilots and soldiers for this moment. Together, they would either save humanity or die trying. Dr. Elena Martinez hurried into the command room carrying a laptop computer. She was the scientist who had designed Earth's secret weapons. Her dark hair was messy and her lab coat was wrinkled, but her eyes sparkled with confidence. "The quantum disruption cannons are online and fully charged," she announced. "All 150 weapons are ready to fire. The enemy has no idea these weapons exist." Jake remembered the day Elena had first explained her invention to him. She had discovered a way to destroy alien energy shields by attacking the quantum particles that powered them. It had taken 20 years to build enough weapons to defend Earth, but the wait was worth it. The quantum cannons were hidden throughout the solar system. Some were built into asteroids that looked empty and dead. Others were hidden on the dark sides of moons. The most powerful weapons were buried deep under the surface of Mars, invisible to alien sensors. "What about their fleet formation?" Jake asked Lisa. "Standard Imperial attack pattern," she answered quickly. "They will approach Earth in 3 waves. The first wave destroys orbital defenses. The second wave attacks ground targets. The third wave lands troops to occupy the planet." This was exactly what Earth's defenders had expected. The Zephyrians used the same attack plan for every world they conquered. It had worked perfectly for 300 years, so they never changed it. But Earth was different. Humanity had been watching and learning. Ryan pulled out a map of the solar system covered with red and blue markers. The red markers showed where the alien fleet would travel. The blue markers showed where human forces were hiding and waiting. "When they pass Jupiter, we activate the first trap," Ryan explained. "The asteroid belt will light up with weapon fire from all directions. They will be surrounded before they realize what is happening." Jake studied the battle plan one more time. Every detail had been checked and double-checked. Every human ship knew exactly what to do and when to do it. Every weapon was aimed and ready to fire. The plan was perfect, but war was never predictable. Things could go wrong. Equipment could fail. People could make mistakes. Jake knew that even with all their preparation, the battle would be dangerous. But he also knew something the aliens did not know. Humans were not the primitive, weak creatures the Zephyrians expected to find. Earth had been building and preparing and training for decades. The secret weapons were ready. The hidden fleets were in position. The trap was set. The Zephyrian Empire thought they were coming to destroy another helpless world. Instead, they were flying into the most dangerous ambush in galactic history. Jake finished his cold coffee and looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there, 300 alien warships were racing toward Earth, confident of an easy victory. They lie. We're about to learn why that confidence was a terrible mistake. War Commander Thexeron stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the primitive solar system grow larger on his screens. His purple skin gleamed under the bright lights, and his forearms moved gracefully as he gave orders to his crew. This would be his 24th conquest, and he expected it to be as easy as all the others. Report on the human defenses, he commanded in his deep, rumbling voice. Lieutenant Vextar, his intelligence officer, checked the sensor readings. The young alien's green eyes showed excitement. This was his first major battle, and he wanted to impress his commander. Very weak defenses, sir, Vextar reported. We detect only a few small space stations around their moon. Their planet shows no orbital weapon platforms. Our sensors show less than 50 small ships trying to flee toward the outer system. Thexeron nodded with satisfaction. This was exactly what he had expected. The humans were running away like frightened children, just like every other primitive race the Empire had encountered. Order the fleet into standard attack formation, Thexeron commanded. We will crush their pathetic defenses and claim this system for the Empire within the hour. The 300 Zephyrian warships moved into their practiced formation as they passed Jupiter's massive bulk. The largest ships, each over 2 miles long, formed the front line. Medium cruisers filled the middle ranks. Fast attack ships spread out on the flanks to catch any humans trying to escape. It was a formation that had never failed. No enemy had ever survived long enough to learn how to fight against it. Far away on Mars Station, Lieutenant Colonel Amy Rodriguez watched the alien fleet approach on her tactical display. She was 38 years old and had spent the last 15 years preparing for this moment. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as she activated systems that had been hidden for decades. Mars Command to all asteroid stations. She spoke into her headset. Enemy fleet is in position. Prepare to activate on my signal. All around the asteroid belt, human engineers and soldiers sat at control panels inside hollowed-out rocks. The asteroids looked completely normal from the outside, but inside they contained some of the most powerful weapons humanity had ever built. Fusion reactors hummed to life, weapon systems charged with deadly energy, targeting computers locked onto the approaching alien ships. The Zephyrians had no idea they were flying through a minefield of hidden weapons. Captain Ben Parker sat in the pilot seat of the Earth defense ship Liberty, hidden behind the dark side of Earth's moon. Around him, 50 other human warships waited in complete silence. Their engines were cold and their weapons were powered down to avoid detection. These were not the small primitive ships the aliens had spotted fleeing the system. Those had been decoys, old cargo vessels modified to look like frightened civilian craft running away from the approaching invasion force. The real Earth fleet was built with technology that would shock the Zephyrian Empire. Human engineers had studied crashed alien scout ships for 50 years. They had learned how to build faster engines, stronger armor, and more powerful weapons than anything the aliens possessed. But the Zephyrians did not know this. They still thought humans were using primitive chemical rockets and simple metal ships. All ships report ready, whispered Lieutenant Sarah Kim, Ben's communications officer. We are invisible to their sensors and ready to strike. Ben nodded and checked his weapon systems one final time. The Liberty carried 40 quantum disruption torpedoes, each one capable of destroying an alien heavy cruiser with a single hit. Every ship in the human fleet carried the same deadly weapons. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, War Commander Thexran studied the tactical display with growing confidence. The human ships were still fleeing toward the outer system, and no new defenses had appeared. The planet Earth hung in space like a ripe fruit, ready to be picked. "Sir, we are detecting some unusual energy readings from the asteroid belt," reported sensor operator Kexran. "But they appear to be natural solar radiation effects, nothing to worry about." Thexran barely listened to the report. Natural radiation was common in primitive solar systems. These readings were exactly what he expected to find around a backward world like Earth. He had no idea that the natural radiation was actually the energy signatures of 150 hidden weapon platforms powering up their quantum disruption cannons. Admiral Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet's progress from Luna Station. The enemy ships were moving exactly as predicted, following the same attack pattern they had used for centuries. Everything was going according to plan. "Distance to target zone?" he asked Commander Lisa Brooks. 15 minutes until they reach the asteroid belt," Lisa replied. "All stations report ready. Amy Rodriguez confirms that Mars Command is prepared to execute Phase 1. Jake felt his heart beating faster. 30 years of preparation were about to be tested in actual combat. Either Earth's defenses would work perfectly, or humanity would be destroyed within the hour. "Signal all units," Jake commanded. "Operation Thunderbolt begins in 10 minutes. All stations prepare for immediate combat." Throughout the solar system, human defenders received the message and made their final preparations. On Mars, Amy Rodriguez's finger hovered over the activation switch. Behind the moon, Ben Parker started the Liberty's engines. In the asteroid belt, hundreds of weapon platforms finished their targeting sequences. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that their latest target was not a helpless world filled with primitive creatures. Earth was a fortress, and humanity was ready for war. Admiral Jake Morrison raised his hand and looked at the countdown timer on the main screen. The numbers showed 3 minutes and 15 seconds until the alien fleet reached the asteroid belt. Everything humanity had built and planned for 3 decades would be tested in the next few minutes. "All stations report ready," Commander Lisa Brooks announced from her position at the communications console. "Mars Command, asteroid bases, and hidden fleet units are standing by for your order." Jake lowered his hand and spoke clearly into his headset. "All units, this is Admiral Morrison. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. Repeat, execute Operation Thunderbolt now." Lieutenant Colonel Amy Rodriguez heard the order through her headset on Mars Station. She had been waiting for this moment for 15 years. Her finger pressed down on the red activation button, and immediately every hidden weapon in the asteroid belt came alive. War Commander Thexran was studying a report about human industrial capacity when his flagship suddenly shook from a massive explosion. Alarm bells rang throughout the bridge as his officers scrambled to understand what was happening. "Report!" Thexran roared as he gripped his command chair with all 4 arms. "Sir, we are under attack," shouted Lieutenant Vextar from the sensor station. "Weapons fire is coming from the asteroid belt. Hundreds of hidden bases are opening fire on our fleet." On the main display screen, Thexran watched in shock as the space around his ships filled with deadly energy beams. The asteroids that had looked empty and harmless were revealing massive weapon platforms built into their rocky surfaces. Quantum disruption beams lanced out in all directions, striking Zephyrian ships with devastating effect. The alien energy shields, which had protected Imperial fleets for 3 centuries, flickered and died as the quantum weapons tore through them like they were made of paper. Dr. Elena Martinez had designed her weapons specifically to destroy Zephyrian shield technology, and they worked exactly as planned. "Shields are failing on all ships," screamed the defensive systems officer. "The human weapons are using some kind of quantum disruption field. Our shields cannot stop them." Captain Ben Parker received Admiral Morrison's order and immediately brought the Liberty's engines online. Around him, 50 other human warships emerged from behind the moon like hunting wolves. Their sleek hulls gleamed in the sunlight as they accelerated toward the alien fleet at impossible speeds. "All weapons charged and ready," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the weapons console. "Quantum torpedoes locked onto enemy flagship. Fire all weapons," Ben commanded. 40 quantum disruption torpedoes launched from the Liberty and streaked toward the Zephyrian command ship. The other human vessels fired their own deadly missiles, filling space with hundreds of glowing projectiles that moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. The torpedoes struck the alien ships with tremendous force. Each impact created a brilliant flash of light as the quantum disruption field tore through alien armor and destroyed vital systems. Ships that had seemed invincible just moments before began exploding in chains of fire and debris. Colonel Steve Davis sat in the control center of Earth's drone command facility and watched his tactical display with satisfaction. Thousands of small red dots appeared on his screen as Earth's drone swarms launched from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Deploying all drone squadrons, he announced over the communication system. Target priority is enemy weapon systems and engines. The Ya-1 human drones were unlike anything the Zephyrian Empire had encountered before. Each one was small, fast, and almost impossible to target. They moved in unpredictable patterns and attacked from multiple directions at once. The alien point defense systems, designed to stop large missiles and fighter craft, could not track the tiny human drones. Major Kate Sullivan piloted her interceptor fighter through the chaos of battle with skill that amazed even her own wingmen. Her ship twisted and turned through space in ways that should have been impossible, avoiding alien weapon fire while delivering precise strikes against enemy vessels. "Kate to all fighter squadrons," she spoke into her radio. "Enemy ships are trying to retreat toward Jupiter. Cut off their escape route and force them back into the kill zone." The human interceptors moved like deadly dancers through space. Their advanced engines, based on improved alien technology, allowed them to change direction instantly and accelerate faster than the Zephyrian ships could follow. Every human pilot had trained for years in virtual reality simulators that perfectly copied alien ship movements and weapons. War Commander Thexeron watched his mighty fleet being destroyed around him. In less than 5 minutes, he had lost over 100 ships to the human ambush. The primitives he had expected to crush easily were demonstrating superior technology, better tactics, and weapons he had never imagined possible. "All ships, retreat. Immediately," he ordered desperately. "Fall back to minimum safe distance and regroup." But there was nowhere to retreat. Human ships blocked every escape route, and the hidden asteroid bases continued their deadly bombardment. The Zephyrian formation, which had conquered 47 star systems, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy they had completely underestimated. Dr. Elena Martinez watched the battle from her laboratory deep under Luna Station. Her quantum disruption weapons were performing even better than her calculations had predicted. The alien shields were not just failing, they were being completely overwhelmed by quantum energy levels the Zephyrians had never encountered. "Admiral Morrison," she reported over the communication system, "enemy shield effectiveness is down to 0%. Their defensive systems cannot adapt to our quantum frequencies. We have achieved complete technological superiority." Jake Morrison allowed himself a small smile as he watched the tactical display. The red dots representing alien ships were disappearing rapidly, while the blue dots showing human forces remained almost unchanged. Earth had not lost a single major warship. The trap had worked perfectly. The Zephyrian Empire was learning the hardest lesson in galactic history: never underestimate humanity. Commander Grace Williams sat in the primary command center deep inside Earth's military headquarters. Banks of computer screens surrounded her, showing the complete destruction of the alien invasion fleet. In just 12 minutes, humanity's hidden defenses had reduced 300 Zephyrian warships to scattered debris and burning wreckage. Final count shows 240 enemy ships destroyed, reported Lieutenant Tom Baker from his analysis station. 60 ships are heavily damaged and drifting. Only 15 alien vessels remain combat capable, and they are trying to surrender. Grace nodded with satisfaction. The battle had gone even better than their best predictions. Earth's quantum weapons and hidden fleet had performed perfectly, while human casualties were almost zero. Only 3 drone squadrons had been lost, and no major human ships had suffered serious damage. "Admiral Morrison wants prisoners and intelligence," Grace announced to her staff. "Switch all units to capture mode. We need alien survivors to tell the galaxy what happened here." War Commander Thexran could barely believe what had happened to his invincible fleet. His flagship was badly damaged, with fires burning on 3 different decks. Half of his crew was dead or injured, and his ship's weapons were completely destroyed. Around him, the remains of the greatest military force in Zephyrian history floated helplessly in space. "Sir, the humans are demanding our surrender," reported the surviving communications officer. "They are threatening to destroy all remaining ships if we do not comply immediately." Thexran looked at the tactical display one more time. The human fleet surrounded his surviving ships like hunters closing in on wounded prey. Their weapons were still charged and ready to fire. There was no escape and no hope of victory. "Send the surrender signal," he said quietly. "Order all surviving ships to power down weapons and prepare to be boarded." It was the first time in his long military career that Thexran had ever spoken those words. The shame burned in his chest worse than his physical injuries. General Frank Rodriguez received the surrender message at Earth Defense Command and immediately began organizing capture operations. This was the most important part of the entire battle plan. Earth needed alien prisoners' technology, and most importantly, they needed the galaxy to know exactly what had happened in this solar system. "Deploy all boarding teams," Frank ordered. "Priority targets are the command ships and any vessels carrying senior officers. We especially want their war commander alive and unharmed." Lieutenant Commander Julie Adams led the first boarding party onto the alien flagship. She was an expert in alien technology and spoke the Zephyrian language fluently after years of studying intercepted communications. Her team of 20 Marines moved carefully through the damaged alien ship, searching for survivors and important prisoners. The interior of the Zephyrian vessel was dark and filled with smoke. Strange alien equipment sparked and hissed around them as they made their way toward the bridge. Julie had studied detailed plans of Imperial ships for years, so she knew exactly where to find the command center. "This is Adams to command," she reported over her radio. "We have reached the bridge. Multiple alien survivors found, including one wearing command insignia, requesting immediate transport to secure facility. War Commander Thexran was placed in specially designed holding cells aboard Luna Station. Dr. Paul Carter, Earth's leading expert on alien biology, examined the captured Zephyrian commander with great interest. This was the first time humans had been able to study a living member of the Imperial military leadership. "Fascinating," Paul murmured as he reviewed his medical scans. "Their biology is almost identical to what we predicted from the crashed scout ships we studied 50 years ago. No major evolutionary changes or genetic modifications." The captured aliens confirmed what Earth intelligence had suspected for decades. The Zephyrian Empire had grown lazy and overconfident after centuries of easy victories. They had stopped developing new weapons or improving their tactics because nothing had ever challenged them before. Captain Rachel Morgan commanded the pursuit, squadrons that hunted down the few alien ships attempting to flee the solar system. Her fast interceptors caught the escaping vessels before they could reach the edge of the system and warned the Empire about Earth's true capabilities. "Target destroyed," Rachel reported as her quantum torpedoes eliminated the last fleeing alien scout ship. "No enemy vessels have escaped the system. The Empire will receive no warning about our capabilities." This was crucial to Earth's long-term strategy. Admiral Morrison wanted the Zephyrian Empire to remain ignorant about human military strength until humanity was ready to deliver their own message to the galaxy. Dr. Paul Carter interviewed War Commander Thexran in the secure holding facility. The alien commander sat behind energy barriers, his purple skin pale with shock and his forearms trembling slightly. He could not understand how his mighty fleet had been destroyed so easily. "Your people fought bravely," Paul said in perfect Zephyrian language. "But you made a serious mistake. You assumed humans were primitive and weak." Thexran looked up at the human scientist with confusion in his large eyes. "How did you learn our language so perfectly? How did you build weapons that could destroy our shields? Your people should not possess such technology." Paul smiled gently. "We have been watching your empire for 50 years. We studied every ship you sent to scout our system. We learned your language from your own communications. We built better, weapons by improving your own designs. The alien commander's face showed growing horror as he began to understand the truth. The humans had not won through luck or accident. They had been preparing for this invasion for decades, learning everything about Zephyrian technology and tactics, then building superior weapons and defenses. Your empire believes it is invincible, Paul continued. But you have grown weak through easy victories. You stopped learning and improving while we studied and prepared. Today you discovered that the hunters have become the hunted. Admiral Morrison visited the alien prisoners personally. He wanted Thexren to carry a specific message back to the Zephyrian Empire, assuming the alien commander survived what was coming next. Your empire has a choice, Jake told the captured war commander. You can continue your policy of conquest and face humanity's full military power, or you can negotiate a peaceful solution. What happened to your fleet today was just a small demonstration of our capabilities. Thexren stared at the human admiral with new understanding and growing fear. The primitives he had come to destroy were not primitive at all. They were a new, galactic power, and they were far more dangerous than anyone in the Empire had imagined. 3 months after the destruction of the invasion fleet, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Victory as it approached the Zephyrian home system. Behind him flew the largest human fleet ever assembled, 200 of Earth's most advanced warships ready for battle. But the most important ships in the fleet were not human vessels at all. 12 captured Zephyrian warships flew alongside the human fleet, broadcasting Imperial surrender codes and identification signals. These ships carried a message that would change galactic history forever. Commander Lisa Brooks sat at the communication station, monitoring alien radio transmissions from the Zephyrian capital world. The planet's defense forces were confused and frightened by the approach of their own ships alongside an unknown alien fleet. Imperial Command is demanding identification from the captured vessels, Lisa reported. They want to know why Thexeran's fleet has returned with alien escorts, instead of human prisoners. Jake smiled grimly as he looked at the blue-green world that had been the center of a galactic empire for over 3 centuries. Today, that empire would learn what it meant to face humanity's full military power. Open a channel to the planetary. Defense Command, Jake ordered. It's time to deliver our message. On the surface of the Zephyrian homeworld, Supreme Military Commander Zexthor received the transmission in his heavily fortified command bunker. The elderly alien's 6 eyes widened in shock as he recognized the species speaking to him through the communication system. This is Admiral Morrison of the Human Federation. Jake's voice echoed through the alien command center. We are returning your invasion fleet to discuss terms of surrender. Your war commander Thexeran is aboard one of these vessels and wishes to speak with you immediately. Zexthor's purple skin turned pale as the implications hit him. The humans were here, at the Empire's capital world, escorting captured Imperial ships. This could only mean that the invasion of Earth had failed completely. Put Thexeran on the communication channel, Zexthor ordered his communications officer with a trembling voice. War Commander Thexeran appeared on the view screen, but he looked nothing like the confident warrior who had left 3 months earlier. His face was marked with shame and his 4 arms shook as he spoke. Supreme Commander, I must report total failure of the Earth invasion, Thexeran said slowly. The humans destroyed our entire fleet in 12 minutes. They possess weapons and technology far superior to our own. They have been watching us and learning from us for 50 years. The command center fell silent as the full meaning of Thexeran's words became clear. The invincible Zephyrian Empire had been defeated by a species they considered primitive and weak. Captain Ryan Hughes commanded the human fleet's tactical operations from his position aboard the Victory. His screens showed the positions of 300 Zephyrian defense ships surrounding their homeworld, but he was not worried. Earth's fleet carried enough quantum disruption weapons to destroy every alien vessel in the system. Enemy fleet is taking defensive positions around their planet, Ryan reported to Admiral Morrison. But their formations are identical to the ones we studied at Earth. They have not learned anything new since their defeat. Dr. Elena Martinez monitored the performance of her quantum weapons from the Victory's science station. Her latest designs were even more powerful than the weapons that had destroyed the invasion fleet at Earth. These new quantum disruptors could penetrate any known form of alien shielding. All weapon systems are charged and ready, she reported. We can disable their entire defensive fleet within minutes if they choose to fight. But Jake Morrison hoped it would not come to battle. Humanity had not come to the Zephyrian homeworld to destroy another civilization. They had come to end the age of Imperial conquest and establish a new order in the galaxy. Supreme Commander Zex Thor, Jake said over the open communication channel. Humanity offers your empire a choice. You can surrender peacefully and negotiate terms for your people's survival, or you can fight and face complete destruction. Choose wisely. Commander Grace Williams sat in the communication center aboard the Victory, coordinating with human fleets throughout the galaxy. While Admiral Morrison dealt with the Zephyrian capital, other Earth forces were liberating worlds that had been conquered by the Empire over the past 3 centuries. Liberation fleets report success at 12 former Imperial colonies, Grace announced. Local populations are celebrating their freedom. The Empire's military forces are surrendering without resistance when faced with our quantum weapons. The news from across the galaxy was the same everywhere. Zephyrian garrisons were abandoning their posts rather than fight against human forces. The Empire's military had lost all confidence after learning about the disaster at Earth. Supreme Commander Zex Thor studied tactical reports from across his crumbling empire. Human fleets were appearing at Imperial bases throughout the galaxy, demanding surrender and offering protection to liberated worlds. The empire that had ruled half the galaxy for 3 centuries was collapsing in a matter of weeks. We cannot fight them, Zex Thor admitted to his assembled officers. Their technology is too advanced and our forces are too demoralized. The age of the Zephyrian Empire is over. 6 months later, Ambassador Lisa Brooks walked through the halls of what had once been the Imperial Palace on the Zephyrian homeworld. The building now served as the headquarters for the Human Federation Embassy, symbolizing the complete reversal of galactic power. The former Zephyrian Empire had become a protectorate of humanity, its military disbanded and its conquered worlds liberated. The alien species was learning to live peacefully under human guidance, while humanity shared medical and agricultural technologies that improved life throughout the former Imperial territories. Dr. Elena Martinez had established research centers on dozens of worlds, teaching alien scientists how to develop defensive technologies instead of weapons of conquest. Her quantum theories were revolutionizing science throughout the galaxy. Captain Ben Parker commanded the human patrol fleets that kept peace in the former Imperial space. His ships responded to conflicts with humanitarian aid and diplomatic solutions, instead of weapons and destruction. The galaxy had entered a new age. The time of conquest and empire was over, replaced by cooperation and mutual assistance under human leadership. Earth had proven that sometimes the best defense was perfect preparation, and that underestimating humanity was the most dangerous mistake any species could make. The primitive world that the Zephyrian Empire had come to destroy had become the center of a new galactic civilization, one built on the principles of peace, progress, and the unlimited potential of human determination.